Today's guest is Tal Haslam, currently rocking his way through New York City and previously based out of Utah. Tal is a reputable songwriter and guitarist who is currently making music both as a solo artist and half of the band Idiot Kid. Welcome, Tal.
Tal.
Thanks for that intro.
Yeah. So, hey, thanks for agreeing to the interview. We've been longtime fans of yours and have been looking forward to talking to you for a while. So you're living out in New York now, right?
Yes, sir. Manhattan.
So Manhattan, the center.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild. Like, I moved here almost exactly a year ago.
Oh, no kidding.
And I was like, had this solo album that I just recorded, and I was like all stoked to get out here and play shows. And then the whole pandemic thing happened, in case you guys haven't heard. And then, so yeah, I've kind of been like trying to just survive this year, and hopefully I can bust onto the scene, when things open up again or whatever. So.
Yeah, no kidding. So how is it down there? What's going on with do they have any live venues open right now, or are they still locked up tight?
I mean, like, Broadway's closed down.
Wow.
All the music venues are closed down. Like, there's some that have done like a little bit of like live stream stuff, but like for all intents and purposes, it's shut down. So I don't know what's it like out in Utah right now. That's where you guys are, I'm assuming, or am I wrong?
Yeah. We're out here. There's it's still shut down pretty good, but some venues are starting to open back up, kind of like a slow open up. A lot of them have crowd capacity limits that are like half of what they typically are, But yeah, the venue here, people are starting to figure out how to do live streaming better and all that sort of thing. So it's good, but it'll be a lot better when life gets back to normal. I think for everybody.
Yeah. Dude, has anyone ever told you that you look like Lane Staley from Alice in Chains?
I actually have heard that. I've heard a couple other things, but yeah.
I don't mean to I don't mean to hijack the interview, but like
you're good.
I've been wanting to tell you that, and I just feel like you look exactly like him.
A million times. We get Sting so much. Hunter looks so much like Sting. It's actually ridiculous.
Like
Sting.
You're just a really good looking guy, so they're like picking people, and they're like,
oh, dude, thanks, man. Are you kidding? I'm glad that you're the one who's going to be on the big screen most of the time, because
that kind of scares me a little bit. I shaved a mustache today for this interview. So
did you? Nice.
People don't take me like
good, man.
Too seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now it looks trim. Did you have the full beard before? Or?
Yeah, I did like the full beard, and then I took the beard trimmer, hacked off the rest of it, and I'm sure the mustache will last like 2 days, but like.
Now it looks good, man. Keep it. That's good.
Thanks.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, cool, man. So you said you moved out a year ago. What are the differences in the scene? So you only had a couple months then to play there, but what have been some of the differences between here and there?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like here in New York, obviously it's like the biggest city, in the US or whatever. It's like very well-oiled machine as far as like, there's like music schools here. There's like Juilliard and Berkeley. You have like these like professional like jazz players, right? Or like, you have like opera singers. Like, there's just a lot of really, really, like, there's amazing musicians in Utah that are like just as good, in my opinion. I just think that it's more of like a DIY process of like how they learn or how they come to be in whatever band they're in. And I feel like here it's like people like go to school and they're like classically trained, which is not me at all with music. I'm very like self-taught, whatever, as far as, I mean, I took lessons, but I've never like been to school. Like, I can't read music,
Yeah.
So that's like a kind of the main difference. It's like very kind of educated, like more professional feeling. And that's not just like, there's again, like, that's not a comment on like the quality of musicians in Utah, because we all know amazing musicians in Utah, but it's just like a different route to get there, I guess. So
yeah, kind of environment. Has that been weird for you, coming from a background where you don't read music or anything, to play with a bunch of people who maybe rely on it more?
Yeah, I mean, like, I have some friends that are like jazz guitarists, and I've never even like touched jazz guitar. So it's like, if anything, it's like kind of cool, because I feel like I like being thrown into scenarios where I'm like out of my depth, you know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that motivates me to be like, whoa, like I need to, like there's something new I could learn or whatever. So it's been weird and it's like throwing me off, but like that's kind of, I kind of dig that as far as music goes. Like trying to be in like an uncomfortable scenario, I think is good for me as a musician. So
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I remember you killing it on guitar. You still playing all the time on guitar? Is that your main still, or?
yeah, I mean, like I did this solo record last year that I released, and there's not a lot of guitar on it. It's like a little bit more of like a artsy like thing. But I like will never, I don't think I'll ever like break away from the guitar entirely. Like I always play it every day. And like I feel like the guitar is what made me like fall in love with music. And so I mean, I guess like
So
never
you got
say
to keep it.
never. Yeah, I
Yeah,
never say
yeah,
never, but I feel like I'll probably like play guitar till the end of time, you know?
yeah. No, that's fantastic. How did you start? Was the guitar your first? And
Yeah, like my mom wanted me to play piano, but I was like, didn't really like it. I feel like once I like knew that electric guitar was a thing, I wanted to do that. And like my parents were really afraid of me playing guitar because they like were worried that I'd grow up and like want to be a rock star, you know?
yeah,
So like I feel like all of their like worst nightmares have come true. No, they're cool. They're cool with it now, but like yeah, I
yeah.
played piano for a couple years, and then when I was like 8 years old, I actually had an elementary school teacher who she like played acoustic guitar in the classroom, and she like gave me
Oh,
one of
nice.
her like cheap guitars to like take home.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when I started to play. So
Oh man, that's awesome. So you started on the electric or the acoustic? Is that?
so I started on the acoustic, and I didn't really touch electric guitar until like high school.
Oh,
So
no kidding.
so if you think about it, it's like I was 8. I don't know what, I can't remember exactly what grade. I think it's like second grade. And
Oh,
so
yeah,
I like only played acoustic guitar for a long time. And I think
yeah,
that that kind of has influenced like my style of playing on either electric or acoustic a lot, you know?
Hey, Tal, was
yeah,
there
yeah. That
anything
makes
that,
sense.
like made you want to make the change from acoustic to electric? Like, was there an artist you listened to at the time that like gave you that push?
Um, yeah, like I feel like what made me want to change was like the punk rock guys. Like I really got into like in middle school, I remember I got into like the Sex Pistols and like Misfits and Ramones and like a lot of the like
Nice.
it
Yeah.
wasn't like the Guitar Hero like Van Halen like shreddy guys. It was more the like super energetic like punk rock stuff. And because I
Yeah.
felt like I never thought I would be able to play like a guitar solo. Like I was like, oh, I'll never be that good. So I'll like just like play punk rock guitar.
Yeah.
And so yeah, punk rock for sure is what made me want to pick up an electric.
Yeah. There's a lot of feeling there, absolutely. So you said you began at 8 then playing. When did
Mhm.
you start writing? When was your first band that you joined, or did you go solo for a while, or how'd that
Um,
go?
so where I grew up in San Diego, there wasn't like a big music scene or like that I was aware of at least. And so growing up, actually, my older brother, Dalton, he plays violin. And so I would say like my first ever thing was him and we would go, we lived by the beach and like
Oh, cool.
live in kind of a like a touristy, like during the summer, our hometown was like very touristy and it would like double in population with people visiting. And so we'd go like busking
No,
on
no kidding.
the
Nice.
boardwalk and like we'd make, I think one night we made like $100 from busking. And to like,
Wow.
yeah, to like a 10-year-old kid, it was like,
Oh, that's huge, man.
yeah, it was right. So yeah, me and my older brother, that was like my first gig in air quotes, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, that's awesome, man. Did he keep playing with you? Did you guys keep playing together, or did you kind of go separate ways musically, or?
um well we kept playing together. We played in like a little folk band my freshman year of college,
Oh,
but
fun.
then like he went to medical school and made like smarter decisions with his life. And so we don't play really anymore, but
Yeah.
I keep telling him that like next time I do an album, like I want to have him play some violin on it, like to bring things full circle. I think that'd be super, super rad. So
Yeah. No, that'd be awesome, man. So
mhm.
when were you part of Gray Glass? Because when we played together 3 years ago or whatever that was. Yeah, that was, when did you join that? Was that after freshman year or?
Yeah, so I started like, because I mean, as you guys know, like the Provo music scene is amazing, and like
Oh yeah, for sure.
people might, it's kind of like unexpected, I guess, for
Yeah.
like a like super Mormon like college town.
Yeah.
But I got to Provo and I started playing like open mics and stuff at Velour, and
Oh
then
yeah.
after a while I like met people, and I like had always wanted to be in like an alternative or like punk band, you know? And
Yeah.
so Gray Glass kind of had like a lot of different sounds that we kind of morphed through over our time as a band, but that was like the motivation. I was like, I want to be in like a 4 or 5 piece rock and roll band for the first time. And so that
Yeah.
was Gray Glass from like 2014 to like 2018 or whenever we broke up. So
Oh, cool. That's fantastic. So when you moved out there, you've been releasing stuff, you've been um working on new projects, it looks like. What's going on there? Working on anything you're particularly excited about or?
yeah, I mean, I think I love all my music, you know, but this solo record that I released last year, Kill Me Slower, which was just like the first thing I did under just like my name.
Yeah.
I made that album with Nate Pfeiffer, he's a Utah producer. He's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that that's like my work that I'm the most proud of. It's like less like, obviously there's like elements of like alternative rock in there, but it's much less like straightforward like rock and roll.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I've been writing new music kind of more like in that vein. So I feel like the
Oh,
thing that
cool.
I'm like most stoked on right now is like I just am thinking in my brain what's going to be like the next record that I do as a solo artist, and I think that that'll be the thing that's the thing that like keeps me up at night, like
Yeah. Yeah.
my brain spinning, like trying to think of what's coming next, I guess.
So are you making an album right now? Are you in process of that
No, I
or just
mean,
writing for it?
I'm just writing for it. So
Yeah.
I don't know when I'll like hop back in the studio and make another album, just because this year has been like super unexpected. I feel like if anything, I've had to just like push back playing shows here. And so I would want to
Yeah.
like, I want to become like more acquainted with the scene here and actually like gig the last stuff that I've done, because I don't think that like enough people have heard it.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. Totally.
So I guess my plan right now is wait till things open up, play some shows here, keep writing, and then like I haven't even talked to him about like the next thing, but maybe I'll send some demos to Nate, and if he's like, "Hey, like these don't suck," then we'll do another album. You know?
Oh
Yeah.
man, you've never sucked, so I'm sure you'll be good there.
Oh no, like
No,
no. Listen, like there have been many times where I've written a song, or like I'm in my room and I've done something, and like luckily I've had like a good friend, like a producer, who's like, "Yeah, like that kind of sucks. Like let's leave that, let's leave that on the floor. Let's scrap that, and yeah." So I feel like I'm proud of the stuff I have out, but I never want to put on like some sort of a facade that like everything I do is great, because that's not the case. But
well, I mean, my perspective is different, but I haven't heard some of those maybe that your
yeah,
friends have and
you just
everything.
don't know me. Like you don't know me well enough.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Cal, so you
Well,
come across these moments with these producers and friends and whatnot who tell you songs aren't exactly good enough to be released. Um, what about, how has your perspective changed on that over the years? Like, did it used to be, how do you deal with that now compared to how you used to at first deal with that criticism?
Yeah, that's a super good question. And I feel like it's something that I've grown a lot as an artist. Like, and you guys, I'm sure you can relate. Early on when I was writing music, it would be like, this song is like my baby. And
yeah.
I'm like writing this one song, and I'm going to take like 2 months and it's going to be perfect. And like, you
Yeah,
know,
totally. Yeah.
and I've shifted to where I'm like, okay, now I have like 20 different ideas in my head, like spinning around, that could become like a full-fledged song, you know, that's like written
Yeah.
from start to finish. But I'm going to have like a lot of options on the table so that I can like find the gems amongst those songs. And then like once I've picked them, or once like a producer and I have picked the songs, I dive in with like the same amount of energy and like passion to like make that song, like make sure I like put everything I can into that track, you know? But I'm a little bit less like, I'm less married to like preliminary ideas. I don't know if that's how it's been for you guys, but.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that sounds like a mature way um, of creating, honestly. Because yeah, when you're young, I feel like as a young artist, many of us feel like what we're creating is just it's gold. It's just this is the best way to get your voice heard and everything. And so yeah, that's totally respectable that now you're kind of taking more of a um, long-term approach with each song and then putting it all into that. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Really
I mean,
cool.
I feel like it's funny, and I feel like this is cool to talk to you guys about it because you guys are also like, awesome musicians. Like
Oh, thanks,
early
man.
on, there's like a weird ego, like you think you're really great, and you like, because like I don't think like you would pursue it unless you like really believed like, hey, like I'm awesome, you know?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And then there's like this phase, and I feel like in a lot of ways, like I'm still in it, where I'm like, whoa, actually, like like suck at some things, and like I need to like get better. And I feel like once you can like accept that like you have all these like flaws or like these weaknesses as a musician, then like it gets super fun because you're like, when you get better, it feels really good. And I feel
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
some
that's a
artists are like
really good point.
stuck in like, and maybe me in some ways still too, but like they're stuck in that like ego driven phase where it's like they think they're like God's gift to earth, you know? And
Yeah.
it's like, I feel like it tends to lend itself to like worse music and worse art when you're like, and I say that because like I've been there, like I've been that person
Yeah.
who's like, I'm a control freak and like this is like what it's gonna be and like it's gonna be amazing and like I know that this is what it needs to be. And I feel like the more you're like gripping it and holding it tight and trying to be like the guy, like the worse it is. I don't know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's a great point. I think that's very important for people to realize because yeah, when you're young, everyone does feel like they're God's gift to earth. Exactly. Like that. It's every single musician feels like it's the best, but in order to get to that next level, which it sounds like, I mean, you've been there for a while and it sounds like you just keep growing and growing. I think that's very important. So that's awesome.
Yeah, like
So are you, oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I feel like I'm talking a ton, but like these are things I think about and I never have anyone to talk to about them. So,
Oh yeah.
Zoom podcast. But like
Yeah, exactly.
I remember so like Nate Pfeiffer, who he did my solo record, Kill Me Slower, he's produced it.
Mhm.
And he's like, he's a real deal. Like he's worked with tons of people. He's made some of my like
Yeah.
favorite albums, like not just like local, like, some of my favorite records.
Oh yeah.
And I remember like I met with him right after Grey Glass broke up, and he like sat me down and he was like, hey man, like you need to like work hard and like write some better songs. And he like really kind of like, it wasn't like mean, but he was like straight up.
Yeah.
And I feel like for a while that like really like bruised my ego. But then I was like, I don't know. Then I kind of realized like, that's like really good advice. Like I should just buckle down and like try and get better and try and become
Yeah.
a better artist.
Something
And I
we've
feel like,
something we've seen as artists too is that our friends would tell us the song's amazing stuff, and we take it to the studio and ask these producers who work on with potentially dozens of artists what they think, and their view is totally different. Like they might say,
Yeah.
you guys really need to dial this in and tone it up a bit. And they of course have credence with us because we've seen their work and it's amazing. So we really take that to heart. It's interesting how working with professionals and working with producers can really change how an artist sees things and help improve them.
yeah. And it's cool because it's like, you want like the thing you're doing, like you want it to be the best that it can be. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's like your girlfriend or like your buddies will like always tell you like, this is so cool.
The
Like, this
best.
is great.
Exactly.
We went to your show and like, you're so great. And it's like,
Yeah.
you have to find the people who like aren't, they're not like yes men that are just going to tell you you're great. And I feel like that's when, for me personally, like, that's when I feel like I've gotten better.
Yeah, and acknowledging that everybody has to feel that kind of not failure, but oh man, maybe this isn't what I thought it was. Maybe I'm not as tight with this as I thought I was, or I think that's very important. And actually, that is nice to talk to you about, because that's a huge thing on the minds of a lot of people. I feel like all the time as musicians, a lot of musicians struggle with that, and I think some people have a hard time getting out of it. Getting out of that kind of ego driven, like you were saying. So yeah, that's good insight.
Yeah.
Definitely good insight.
Well,
Do
it's
you
it's worth what you're paying for it. So,
hey, the best things in life come free, right? That's
yeah, supposedly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any money anyway, so I couldn't tell you.
Oh man. So out there, you're part of a band, Idiot Kid, right?
Mhm.
Right now?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Are you guys working on anything, or?
Yeah, I mean, I've been writing for that. So
Yeah.
I guess like as my solo music moves in like a more artsy direction, I feel like Idiot Kid is like heavy, like riff rock stuff,
Yeah.
Pretty like more straightforward probably. And like more obviously there's like, guitar solos and like heavy guitars on it. And so me and my like really, really good friend, and he was the bassist for Grey Glass as well, Eli
Oh,
Pratt.
cool.
We formed that as like kind of it kind of just happened like all musical projects do, but I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of my like compartmentalized like riff rock project. And I feel like I hope, and the new stuff that I'm writing is even like, it's like even heavier and like darker sounding, I think, than the other stuff we have released.
Nice.
Again, because of the pandemic, like things are so up in the air, and I don't know when we're gonna like hop in the studio again.
Yeah.
But I'm like always writing. That's just like my rules. I'm like always writing. So yeah.
That's a good rule. Do you have a studio out there that you use, or kind of like a at-home studio type of thing?
I mean, I have some like home gear.
Yeah.
I don't have enough gear to like, I feel like make a record that I'm like super proud of just in my room yet, But
well, that's expensive. That takes, oh man, an in-home
I
studio
mean,
that's at that level is huge.
I wish like people knew, like like the financial commitment of like making a record, and like how much it costs and like how much like of an investment it is. And I think that that's always like kind of on my brain. It always weighs on me. It's like an anxiety of like, oh man, like I want to make like a 10-song record, like how much is that going to cost
Totally.
me? How much time
so
could I
much.
like afford to like take off work to like do it? And so, yeah.
Well, that's kind of the thing. That's kind of one of the reasons we wanted to do Zoom interviews with musicians that we have known and respect and everything, and why you're one of the first that we're talking to. We don't feel like people understand quite as well as maybe they would otherwise how much time, money, and effort goes into art. The art of the musicians. It's easy to, when we have streaming, when we have Spotify and Apple Music, to just have endless songs at our disposal, and I feel like they kind of get watered down. Their value to our opinion. But I think that's a very important aspect of understanding your local community. They spend a ton of time on that, and as you're saying, it's very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, like that's great. I think that you guys they're doing this and want to like, raise awareness or whatever for that. I feel like I have friends who are musicians. I also have friends who are just like music fans, and like love music. And one thing I've noticed is like the musicians that I respect a lot that are really good, they tend to like talk the least amount of trash, I feel like, on incoming musicians and like even artists who are like making it as their career, whereas like I think sometimes, like you said, it's easy to like, oh, like the new, whatever Strokes album came out. It's easy to just like throw it on instantly in your room. You don't have to pay for it. And then you have like your armchair opinion on like if it's good or you know, what sucks or like why this is lame or whatever. Not that I love the Strokes and they're never lame, but you know what I mean. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
people have
exactly.
their opinions on art, and like I certainly do. I'm very
Yeah.
opinionated, but I feel like I've toned back like my criticism just because, yeah, like it's freaking hard to make a record, you know.
Oh yeah.
Um, and it's expensive and it's a commitment. So I feel like anyone that I see that's like doing it or like trying to do it, I'm like, you know, even if it sucks, you know, like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really do
exactly.
respect, like even if I think it sucks, because there are records that come out, I'm like, this is garbage. I hate this, you know. But like even those people, I'm like, they're at least they're doing it, you know. Like
Yeah.
always easier to criticize than to actually create something. So
And I think another thing
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think about very much outside of being an artist is it's not only the build up to recording and releasing the record, it's what you do after you have the record to make sure people hear it.
Yeah.
The promotional aspect, especially as a new artist or someone and still a local level, is incredibly difficult. I mean, especially if you're not like a well-connected human being, because I know a lot of musicians who are, you know, they're introverts. Their music is their life, and they don't have like these huge social circles to build their music off of. So unable to get out there, you have to put in a ton of work. So it's not just writing; it's also building this network, and it's a lot of it's difficult.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And like, you know, yeah, man, it's tough. Like all of just like the promotion and like marketing that you also have to do. Um, and it's like anything in life worth doing, I'm sure is really difficult. You know, like I like have never gone to medical school like my brother or like done other things, and those are all hard. You know, I don't think like being an
For
artist is
sure.
inherently like harder than other things, but like it is,
Right.
I feel like it requires just as much work, you know? And like
Oh yeah.
growing up listening to like Green Day, I was like, yeah, man, like you just like make a record and like you make millions of dollars and like girls like
Yeah.
you and it's like so fun.
Yeah.
And like it's freaking awesome. And like I love making music, but it's certainly not, you know, like all the behind the scenes work is not as well documented, you know?
Yeah, oh for sure. Well, and one of those things that you mentioned about it's just as much work in a lot of ways as these other things that I want to kind of bring to attention is that a lot of those other things that take a lot of work and they deserve full credit, you know, like medical school is so easy. I can't even imagine going to medical school, you know.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
but but uh but a lot of that stuff you can see kind of an end. You can
Hmm.
realistically say this is where I'm trying to get to and I can see that I will get there as long
Hmm.
as I do this, this, and this. Being an artist is a different ball game. You know, you don't get that light at the end of the tunnel so easy to see. It doesn't have a form that's so easy to see. You kind of have to struggle and fight your way to get it. And I think that adds in a whole element of it being a challenge as well. And again, that other stuff is not easy. I'm not,
No,
you
yeah.
know,
No, but that's
but
a good point, is it's like the one thing that is different about it from like a lot of different careers is you're like, there are literally no guarantees. Like
yeah,
you could have, you know, $200,000 and you could spend whatever, 30 grand making an album and spend the rest of the money on like Instagram ads, you know.
yeah,
And there's still no guarantee that there's going to be like a return on that investment, you know, at least
exactly.
monetarily. Obviously there's tons of other payoffs from like making art that are not just
Absolutely.
career
Yeah.
stuff, but like trying to make it into a career, yeah, like there are absolutely no guarantees. And I think that like, I don't know if I'm sure you guys can relate. I look back on like some of the milestones in my like music career in quotes again. And
Yeah.
like I wish, I'm trying to like enjoy them more now, but I didn't enjoy them as much at the time because I was just like exhausted, you know?
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like you
That's
were like, I remember like releasing records with Gray Glass and they would be out and I was just like, okay, like I'm gonna go like take a nap now, you know?
yeah.
It wasn't like a party, and I feel like it should be that way more. Sometimes you forget to like stop
To
and be like,
celebrate.
this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's great insight. Well, so where can we direct people to go check you out and to see all of your history, see what you're going to release? We have your stuff, but I would like to have everybody else hear it.
Yeah, shameless plug, I guess.
Yeah.
So you can follow me on social media, Like my Instagram is just at Tal Haslam, like just my name. Facebook, YouTube, and like even I'm delving into like TikTok now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which I don't like. I already regret it, but you can follow me on there. But then also on Spotify, you can listen to my solo record, Kill Me Slower, which is on Spotify. You can listen to Idiot Kid music, which is there. And then also Gray Glass stuff, even though I'm not with that band anymore, like I'm still really proud of what we did together. So I actually have like a playlist that's like my complete discography of like songs that I've like written or like sang on. So
Fantastic.
people can check that out.
Yeah.
I mean, but like, I feel like I plug my social media. I really want people to like listen to my stuff, on Spotify.
Yeah.
Like, if they're going to do one thing,
Totally.
it would be like, go listen to the records. Cause like social media is fun, but I don't do it cause I want to have like I don't want to be like a model or like have like a million followers on Instagram. Like I want it to be, I want people to listen to the records. My face was made for radio. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man.